Hello and welcome to the Sanctuary, a safe space to speak from the heart. I'm your host, Israel. My guest today is Neha Shetty from Cakes by Neha. Thanks for coming to the Sanctuary today.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you? We had a awesome long weekend, so I'm doing
Yeah,
pretty well.
yeah, yeah. Long weekend is been good, except for the rain though. And then we
I
had the
know.
icy rain too.
Yeah,
That was a little bit scary, but
yeah,
thankfully it actually rained and cleared the ice. Have
I
you
know.
ever had the experience of driving on ice before?
Oh gosh, yes. I've lived here since 1993, so I've driven in everything possible.
It's weird,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Because like
scary.
it makes your car do things that you don't expect it to do. My
Yeah.
own experience was, one day I was walking late on something, so I'm coming home, and there's just a tiny hill. It's not even that steep, just a tiny hill. So I'm going up the hill, and the car isn't going up, but it's not going down like rolling backwards. It's sliding
Oh
sideways
yeah,
backward. It was so scary. It was
it's really
so scary.
uncomfortable. I know.
Thankfully it was late, like, and there was no car around, and I just slid the car to the curb, waited. But I was lucky, like not long after there was a truck putting salt on the streets, and I
Okay,
just followed that truck home. Like, I
that's
don't
good.
think I've been that scared in a very long time. In a very
I
long
know.
time.
It's like not driving; it's drifting at that point. It's like
Yep,
hard to
yep.
control.
Exactly. Hey, so how let's talk about cakes, Bunny. What was the last cake you made?
The last one I made was for I actually had two family birthdays this weekend, so it was
Oh.
heavy on the birthday cakes for the fam. Yeah. So I made actually the last one I made was really cool because I got some donuts from Vandal Donuts in
Hmm.
downtown Halifax here, and they're super yummy. So one of my family members loves donuts, and he turned 40, so I did like a number cake, and I put donuts all over it, and
Mm.
it was different. It was like a different new style for me, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah. And then the second cake.
The second, yeah, that was the most recent, and then the one before that, it was my best friend's son's birthday party as well. So I made him
Yeah.
two cakes, and they were Rocket League cakes. Honestly, I get to know so many like games and all these different shows and stuff that I never would have known about if I didn't have themed cakes. So they were
Yeah.
Rocket League, yeah.
Yeah. Rocket League, I know that game is like where cars play football, pretty much soccer.
Oh, is that what they do? I don't even
That's
know. I
literally
just
what they do. So there are two goalposts, and then each team, like, you can be two or three, and then you drive a car, and then you have to
oh,
put this huge ball inside the goalpost of your opponent. That's it. So
okay.
when you get such an order, right, what's your process from okay, let's do this cake, to like, do you start research right away, and how do you know how long it's going to take to make it?
Yeah, definitely start research immediately to see whether this is something that is number one my style, whether I know I can do it in a way that reflects my own style and something that I know is going to look good for my client at the end of it.
Hmm.
Obviously, for family cakes, it's a different level of expectation when it comes to family cake. So whatever the theme is, I'll just do it. But for clients, I'll research immediately as soon as I know the theme or the design that they have in mind. I'll try to
Hmm.
look into, okay, what is this about, and can I make this work, and etc. So that
Hmm.
research starts immediately before I even accept the order, or
Hmm.
confirm it.
Hmm.
And then I always have to take into mind now, after doing cakes for a little while now, I kind of have a better understanding of how long something is going to take me. So I'm able to have kind of a mental idea of the hourly breakdown of how long this is going to take, or that part, or
Hmm.
whatever other decorations I have to make for it.
Hmm.
Um, so thankfully now I can kind of come up with a price quote a bit faster than I could before.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. I just think about what kind of style I'm going to do, how long is it going to take me, and then whether it works with my calendar.
And it's only you? Do you ever have help?
I don't know. It's just me.
Oh, that's so much work.
And,
But let's rewind a bit, right? Let's go way back to the beginning.
mhm.
When did you start baking?
I just started as a hobby actually. When I was younger, I was really bad at baking, like super bad. And even just like the box cakes that I'd buy turned out burnt, and I still thought they were pretty good, but they weren't. But and then I think it was around like I recently posted that actually. I think it was maybe 7 years ago. No, it must be longer than that. I my first cake that I made from scratch was when I really felt like, okay, this is cool. Like I want to try to research more about how I can get better at this, and this tastes so much better than all the burnt cakes that I've made before. So I was like, there's something here. I need to study this, and that's what I did. I pretty much like self-taught myself,
Mm,
just looking at videos on YouTube and reading articles and check out videos and seeing what kind of techniques people do, and then it was all
hmm.
practice, 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 and
Yeah.
that's how I built up my interest in baking. And then from there on, I was just doing baking for like friends and family, and then I got a lot of encouragement from them, and then I started taking like tiny orders and just kind of like getting my feet wet and seeing what it's like to actually sell something. Or it was nerve wracking because I was like, oh my god, I have no
Mm.
idea what I'm doing right now, but obviously it worked out okay. So
So how at what point, like how long ago did you start taking those small orders that went from friends and family?
That was actually in my first year of my BED. So I was in like a Bachelor of Education program to become a teacher at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And baking was just my stress relief. And I was just doing it on weekends or after class, and whatever I was making, the family was just eating. And then I
Yeah.
got an order from one of my classmates in the BED
Oh.
program. Yeah, his
Mm-hmm.
mom ordered cupcakes, and at first I was like, oh my god, like I've never done this before. And that's kind of when that's what initiated me trying to break down like how do I even cost something out? Like how do I understand like what's the price of a cupcake? I don't know. I don't want to just pull like a random figure out of the air. So
Mm-hmm.
I made like a spreadsheet on Excel and broke down like all the ingredients, how much of each ingredient is necessary,
Yeah.
and how much that would cost. Like you have like this whatever number of pounds of flour, and I'm only using this much from that bag. How many cents is that?
Oh
Yeah,
man, so much math.
yeah, it's a lot of math. And I'm not good at math at all. So it took me a while, but
I
thankfully,
can completely relate.
oh, it was scary. And I have a sister who's like a genius at math, thank God. So she's the one who pretty much helped me with most of that, and another one of my
Mm,
cousins as well. So it wasn't just me in that sense. There's a lot of family support behind the scenes
mm,
for Cakes by Nay.
mm.
Even now, like in that sense, there's a lot of help. But you know, the main the main things that are going on are always obviously me doing it because nobody else can do the baking or the decorating. But
Mm, mm.
yeah.
Okay, so when you were doing your BED, would you take some of your cakes to class, and how did your classmate know that you bake?
Oh yeah, I was bringing treats like all the time. People
Mm.
obviously made like wonderful friends. Now I'm wondering whether it was for the cakes, but it wasn't. They were really nice. Nah, they were really really sweet. We're still friends now. So
Yeah.
yeah, I used to bring treats all the time because obviously my sister and my brother-in-law, I was living with them at that time. They were like,
Mm-hmm.
Neha, you gotta like, we know that you love baking and stuff, but this is ridiculous. Like everyone is gaining so much weight, and you just need to like get these out of here. So I was sharing with my classmates, and I bring them to class, or sometimes I try to like kind of like integrate my assignments for my BD with baking. Like I would take like a theme that we were talking about in class and then like bake a cake around it or something like that. Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, there was a lot of treats that were taken at school, so they knew that I do love baking, and
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
that's how that
Did
happened.
you like start? So once you start, okay, like I'm baking and it, I kind of know my way around the oven, and I'm not burning cake anymore and all that jazz. Like, at what point did you start making super elaborate, like themed cakes?
hmm The first time I made a cake that impressed me was one that I didn't make for family. Again, it was just for like a party, or it was for my sister's birthday actually. It was a pretty simple design when I look back on it now, but it had like multiple colors to it, and it took me an incredibly long time to do it, just because it was a different technique of like piping and then smudging and all this stuff. And that was also the first time I had tried to make a certain type of frosting. So that cake took me like 5 hours, which now would not
Wow.
take me that long at all. But that really kind of, it sets the bar for me of like, okay, I'm able to do things that look pretty cool. So I need
Mm-hmm.
to figure out what other designs I can experiment with. And also the encouragement that I got from social media, from like extended family and friends on Facebook when I shared the picture. It means so much when you kind of like get that validation from everybody. At this
Mm-hmm.
point now, I'm very comfortable with my work. I still love to
Mm-hmm.
read what people say and comment about my work.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a different level of confidence that I have now that I definitely didn't have in the beginning. But that
Yeah.
really helped build my confidence to keep going.
Oh, that is awesome. So comes back to your sister again. I hope I have a feeling she'll feature a lot in our talk today. Um, so you made the cupcake for your classmate's mom,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you got great feedback.
hmm
Did the orders just start coming in, and did you take all of them, or what happened?
So yes, after that, it has been and still is a lot of word of mouth with my business. So a lot of my starting orders were from friends of my family, like either my brother-in-law's friends or sister's friends that were having a baby shower, or I knew someone that was having one, or a birthday. And so I was making cakes for those people, and that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
where it really started. Also at that time, since I was a full-time student, and I didn't think I'm going to be doing cakes forever,
Mm-hmm.
because I was studying to be a teacher, right? So it was still just like a hobby thing. But like, okay, if you can like make some spare change kind of on the side, why not do that at the same time?
Yeah.
So that's the way that I was kind of approaching it. So I wasn't interested in getting like a ton of orders or anything at that time. It's just like if people
Mm-hmm.
ask, like, and I have the time, like for sure I'd love to. But when it gets to the point where you're getting people who you don't really know asking for cake, then it becomes kind of hard on your wallet also to like just give it away. So that's another reason. I was only charging for the cost of my ingredients. Like I wasn't taking into consideration the time that I'm putting in, or like the electric bill or anything like that. Because I was
Yeah.
still just happy to like be able to use my skill to help people out or to make them happy and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was very different at that time.
So, did you finish your BED? Did you even become a teacher at all?
Yes, I am a teacher, and I still carry my teacher certification to get discounts at Michael's because they give discounts to teachers. Yeah. So I'm technically still a teacher. I always will be, but definitely not working in that field anymore.
Oh,
So
you
yeah, I did.
actually taught school, like actually were in class and all that?
Yes, I did work for a couple of years as a teacher. One
Okay.
year in India, and then I came back, and then I worked 1 year full time here in Halifax, and then I was subbing. Yeah, after that.
So, why did you decide to go study, teach in India? I mean,
I went with an organization called Teach for India. So it's a nonprofit organization that works in
oh,
low income schools. So
mm-hmm,
that was, I always had the desire to just go back to India and spend some time there and live there and see what it was like, since I'm super attached to India just as much as I am to Canada, but I wasn't born there.
mm-hmm,
Um, I've always gone annually with my parents. Like they always made it a point to take my sister and I back every summer. So I'm
mm-hmm.
still very attached to it, but I never had the experience of living there. So I moved to Mumbai, which is a super, super busy, highly populated city. It's awesome. So
Mm,
much fun. I lived there for a year and worked there. It's a totally different experience for me.
mm. In what way?
Every way possible. It's like just as an example, if you take half the population of Canada and put it
Yeah.
on PEI, that's
Mm.
Bombay, that's Mumbai.
Oh.
Yeah. That's the
Traffic
city.
must be fun then.
Oh yeah, traffic, people, everything. It's a different world. I love it. It's like amazing. So it was an incredible opportunity for me.
And how was your experience teaching there?
Really great. It also kind of like set a bar for me of what to expect from students in general. So now I expect like a very high level of respect when I'm teaching, and that doesn't always happen in a lot of schools. My kids were like so cute and super respectful when I was teaching in India. When I came back to Canada, it was like a little bit trickier, I think, because it's just a totally different system. It's nobody's
Yeah.
fault or anything like that. It's just different culture and
Mm-hmm.
different expectations at home and at school and yada yada. But for me, it was like a little bit challenging, I think. Also, my heart was kind of split between both careers. I really, really still loved baking, and that was still giving me, the utmost happiness outside
Mm.
of my school time. And so that's really what ended up pushing me towards like doing that full time instead.
So when you were in India,
Hmm.
for this 1 year teaching there, did you still do any baking? Like, was it just
Yeah.
baking for you, or were you baking, like, getting paid jobs to make cake?
No, I wasn't getting paid in India, no, to make cakes at all, but I was still doing it as like a hobby.
Mm.
So I kind of like during my BED sold a little bit and like got the idea of what it feels like to sell baked goods,
Mm-hmm.
but then I stopped again completely and like moved to India for a year, but still continued
Oh,
baking because I love it, and I was baking for my kids
okay.
there, like my students, um and baking for family, but no, nothing that was being sold.
So, you finished your BED. How did you always know about this opportunity to teach in India? And like, is it something that was always in your plan, or you just took it when it opened up?
It was not in my plan. No, not initially. One of my cousins did the same program. She lives in India, but I
Mm.
knew about the organization from her. And then I always had a desire to do something of that sort, like give back to the country kind of thing. But I didn't know exactly in what form that would be. And
Yeah.
then since it was teaching, like that's exactly what it was. I was like, this is great. Like I should definitely take the chance and do it. So I applied for the program and I got
Mm.
accepted. And then it was hard for my parents because my parents live in Canada. They live in Nova Scotia as well, in Yarmouth. That's where I grew up. But it was kind of scary for them to, let me go so far. And like obviously I have like a ton of family in the city, so it's home for me too. But it was
Mm-hmm.
it was different than me being, in Halifax. three and
Yeah.
a half
Yeah.
three and a
Yeah.
half hour drive versus, like half a day of flying or so.
Is it a straight flight or?
Not from Halifax. No, you have
Okay.
to fly through Europe, or
Ah.
if you go to Toronto,
Okay.
then you can take a direct flight.
Well, if it's a direct flight from Toronto, how many hours is that flight?
I believe it's something like, oh gosh, don't quote me on it, but I think
Yeah.
something like 14 or 17 hours or something of
Yeah. I
that.
figured
It's
it
too
would be
long.
like some. Yeah. Yeah.
I'd rather
Yeah.
break I'd rather break the journey. I also love traveling and I love airports and people watching and stuff, and I'm missing it like crazy now. But I'm totally fine with, breaking the journeys.
Yeah. And then you came back. Did you was it like a contract when you went to India? Was it just a 1 year thing and you knew after a year you'd come back?
It was a 2 year. It's called a fellowship, but it was a 2 year thing.
Mm.
But I was only able to complete 1 year, and then I came back, and for a number of different reasons. But I still
Mm-hmm.
had an amazing experience, like just for that 1 year, and I made friends that I still have now. They're friends like I feel like family though, and I'm still
Mm-hmm.
in contact with all my students. So.
Yeah. And when you came back, did you come to the teaching job in Halifax right away or?
It wasn't right away. It was after a few months. And I saw the opening online, and then I applied and went to it, and I got the job there. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, that's where I ended up meeting my best friend, who I mentioned I just made her son's birthday cake. this weekend. So we met there, and I only taught there for 1 year, and then I stopped at that school because I was getting married. So I had to plan my wedding, which was going to be in India. So I was like, okay, I guess I just won't work now.
Did you make your cake? Your wedding
I didn't
cake?
have a cake. No, I didn't have one.
No,
I
why
didn't have
not?
a wedding cake. It's like not as huge of a thing in India. Like I think now
Oh,
it's
okay.
becoming a bit more popular. But in the last few years, I'm sorry, like in the past, it hasn't been really that much of a concept having a wedding
Okay,
cake.
okay. Let's just say it was. Would you have
Yes.
made your cake?
I made it. I never thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
I've never made a cake for myself. Like I've
Why
never.
not?
I
Like
just
on your
haven't.
birthday and stuff.
I love it when other people bake for me. Everyone is so like kind of, I don't know, they're all like nervous, and they're always like, oh, I don't know, like we don't really want to bake for you because you're doing it for a living. I'm like, honestly, that's so mean. Like, please, I don't care. I'll take any cake, any
Yeah.
cookies. I love it. I feel spoiled when that happens. I'm like, no, I haven't
um,
done it for myself, so I don't know if I would have made my own wedding cake. Maybe. I can't even think about it. The way that like our weddings are too. Weddings in general are so busy and like stressful. But mine was like, oh my, it was a week long, and it was like
a week?
wild. Yeah,
Wait. Do you have something every day?
yeah. Sometimes
What?
twice a day.
What? This is like you're blowing my mind now.
Yeah,
Like,
so I can't, there's no way I'd be like in my like, garments, like baking the cake. It's
okay,
not practical.
wait. You have to walk me through it. So, like, what do you do each day?
So my wedding started with, we flew from Mumbai, where my mom is from. We flew to the south, and I got married in the south, like close to my dad's village. And so we started the functions there in the village. Something called haldi. So haldi is turmeric, like the yellow spice. I don't know if you know. Yeah. So
I know turmeric. I love it in rice.
yeah, so we use it a lot in cooking. It has a lot of great health benefits, but we
Mm,
also use it. It's gonna sound funny, but we put it like all over the bride and groom's face and body, and like to make them glow for their wedding day. It essentially turns into like this crazy food fight with turmeric, and just everyone is like punching each other in the face with fistfuls of it. So that's how my wedding started, and
okay.
and that night in my dad's village home, like we had this big dance party. There was no video coverage of it because things were wild. Like nobody was in a state to be taking photos or videos. It
Yeah.
was awesome. And then the next day we had another function that is from my part of India. My husband and I are from different parts, so we have like our wedding ring is this V ring. This is our traditional wedding ring. So we have like a
Mhm.
whole function for just this ring. And that was in the morning. And then what happened after that? And then I think that evening we had my Sangeet. Have you seen henna? Like henna on people's hands?
Yeah.
So we have another party just for that. And so there was that party, and then the next day was the wedding, and then we
Hmm.
had the reception after that. So it was just go, go, go. It's crazy. It was
Gosh,
awesome.
darn, man. Like, how do you keep your energy up for those days? I think my day, like, oh man, how do you keep
Oh,
your energy up? And like, you're expected to smile through it, right?
oh, I did. Yes, face was like stuck at the end. I think I went to bed like sleeping like that after my wedding from a smile. Yeah, I like mentally prepared myself to
Yeah,
not have a nap for like
I
a week,
guess.
and
Yeah.
enjoy every second of it. Just because, and there were so many things that happened that were like not according to plan, but I still was like, it's fine, Neha, just smile and enjoy it because it's gonna be done like that. And it really was. It was done in a flash. It was awesome. I loved it. So I
Yeah.
told myself I'm going to.
Yeah, no, I mean, just hearing that, I wouldn't add making my cake to
That's
one
why I
of
didn't
those
have a wedding
things.
cake. And definitely no one made by me. No way. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that is that. Yeah, that is 1 week. Whoa.
Mhm. Mm.
That is
Yeah.
so like how you have to plan it months and months and months and months ahead, right?
My dad had my wedding hall booked before I even met my husband. I didn't even know he exists.
You're kidding
I was
me.
like, this is very hopeful of you, Dad. Like, oh my goodness. I was like, if anything happens, it'll just be like me marrying myself in like this beautiful place. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's get back to
Takes
cakes
a
by
lot of
name.
planning.
But yeah, no, thank you for sharing that, cultural information. I didn't
You're
know. I
welcome.
mean, I knew that guy, the singer that married the actor. I know this is silly. I should know their names. But like she's like this is it
Oh,
Priya?
Priyanka Chopra?
Yes, her, right? She married
Mm-hmm.
the guy that
Nick
sings.
Jonas. Yeah.
Yeah, him. I just thought it was like a celebrity thing. I didn't know
Yeah.
it's just what you do.
Yeah. I think like traditionally, especially in my part, it hasn't been like my parents didn't have a wedding that was that long or anything like that. They just had like their wedding and like reception. But nowadays things have become like everyone wants to celebrate like as much as we can, right? So we really have like
Mm,
pulled different parts of traditions from all over India and like integrated them together into like a whole wedding week.
mm.
Um, so it's just another
Yeah,
reason to celebrate longer.
yeah. If we spend 1 week getting married, we can't get divorced. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Like,
that's what my dad said. Our weddings are so long. Yeah. You should meet my dad. He should have done this interview. um, yeah, my dad said that like the weddings are so long that it's so torturous that you'll never want to do it again. So that's why the marriage lasts so long. I was like, thanks, Daddy. No, they're lovely weddings. He's just joking, but he's like the funniest guy I know.
okay. So yeah, let's get off the cultural lane and come back to cakes right now. So
Mm-hmm.
you do this 1 year subbing. Did you start now doing any baking at all, or it was still folded by this point?
When I came back to Canada,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was doing orders and stuff again. It did pick up again, and actually, I didn't have. After I came back, I made my Instagram page, which really helped me take off a lot more. Till then, I was kind of just posting on my Facebook, like my personal Facebook. I hadn't even I didn't make a logo. I just had
Mm-hmm.
called myself Cakes by Nay, and like things were not established properly. So
Mm-hmm.
it was only in like 2009 that I actually like registered my business and like made things official because I knew I wanted to do this full time and not just part time. That transition happened while I was subbing.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Which year
And
was
that's
this?
what 2019.
Okay, yeah. So got the Instagram and then started taking orders. And when were you like, okay, I'm done with subbing for now, and I'm going to focus fully on this business?
It was like a leap of faith. I had like a discussion with my family, and we all sat around and were like, okay, like, is this what's making you the most happy? And I was like, yes, like absolutely, because I really was not enjoying my time subbing. I'm the type of person that needs like I'm like very emotional and like sensitive and stuff like that. So like me going into a classroom that's new every day and like I don't know the kids
Mm,
and it was just like kind of overwhelming for me and I wasn't enjoying my time.
mm-hmm,
Also, it was really hard to find a permanent position at that time.
mm-hmm,
So I just felt like kind of like torn and I just felt so much happier when I was baking. So the family was like, okay, like do it, like let's just pursue this full time instead. And
mm-hmm,
if it doesn't work out, we always have subbing and teaching there, but just try it out. So I did, and slowly things started to pick up, and like my Instagram got a lot more traffic coming through, and then I started getting orders that were not from people that I knew or not from like word of mouth. It might just be someone who saw my page and liked what they see and wanted to
mm-hmm,
try it out. So
mm-hmm,
that's kind of where things shifted. Social media, big time.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm. Um, was the I guess start taking orders, right? What were some other, I guess, specialty cakes you started making once things started picking up?
Um, well, weddings for sure. I hadn't done anybody's wedding. It was like so nerve wracking because I was like, this is like one of the most important days of people's lives, and they're trusting me with a big part of it. So I was
Mm-hmm.
very honored, but definitely nervous to do it. But everything has gone well. Like touch wood, everything has gone well with every wedding order that I've had, and I've been
Mm-hmm.
getting like a lot more over the years, and I really love
Yeah.
making them actually.
Yeah.
So that's probably the biggest one of like the different type of cakes that I make for like a certain event. Otherwise, till
Mm-hmm.
that time, it had been more baby showers at the beginning, actually. A lot of baby showers. Yeah.
And do you remember the cake you made for your first wedding?
I'm trying to think. The first wedding order. I think it was like a pretty simple one, but like I was still nervous. I'm mixing up like a few, I think. I don't remember exactly which one came first, but both of them
Mm-hmm.
were rosettes, like the tip like the piped roses on the side of the cake. And I remember one person wanted like an ombre, which is like where it starts with a darker color and then kind of like goes lighter. Um that was one of the first wedding orders that I did. And
Mm-hmm.
it was like a relatively simple design, but as soon as you stick wedding on there, my heart beats like 20 times faster. I'm like, oh, this has to be perfect.
Yeah,
So
because you get only one chance to do. Well, I mean, you can, but you literally only have one chance to do it.
it's not even after I make it. It's like till I know they've eaten it and everything's finished that I'm like, oh, I can breathe. Like
Wait,
when I
but you
pass it
don't go
off,
to
I'm
the.
like, be careful. Yeah.
So you give it to them on the wedding day or a day before, or
It depends. Some people have picked it up before if they're traveling with the cake. They're taking it to like another
traveling
city or
with the
town.
cake.
Yeah, so you have to like freeze the cake and then make sure it's like level with the cart. That kind of thing. Oh, stress. So a lot of like nerve wracking, like, oh my goodness. And even like cakes that I've delivered myself, my husband is my delivery driver and he is like 100 times more stressed out about it than I am. I'm like, it's okay, like don't worry about it. Like he makes me sit in the back with the cake because he can't have me next to him. It's just like I can't. I have to pretend like you're not here and like there's no cake and stuff. But you can see me in the rear view. I'm like, hi. He gets very nervous about that. But again, everything's
Oh
been
my
all right.
god.
Yeah. Honestly,
Yeah,
till I
yeah,
know
yeah.
the cake is like been consumed and people enjoyed it, that's when I take a breath again.
So you finally went decided to go all in with Cakes by Nay, get it registered, start doing weddings, more showers, and still, do you still have time to do stuff for family, like with all
I
the
do,
orders you're
yeah.
taking?
My family's like amazing. They're always like, "Don't worry about it. We can pick up a cake. Like we love ice cream cake, Dairy Queen cake. I love Dairy Queen cake too. Sometimes I'm like, maybe we should just do that. I love an ice cream cake, but no, I always try to like adjust my orders accordingly and like have it in my
Yeah.
calendar already. Like this person's birthday's coming, that person's birthday's coming, and then like take my
Okay.
orders accordingly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you ever turn down orders?
Oh yes, I have. I mean, aside from calendar kind of like issues,
Mm.
if I'm already booked that day, then I can't. But I have only if it was like a cake that is heavily fondant. Like I don't do a lot of full fondant cake. I don't do any full fondant cakes anymore.
What
I
is
used
that?
to. Fondant is like that. It's like the rolled material. It's made of sugar, and you probably have seen like cakes that look very smooth and they're covered with that. So it's almost like a rolled icing kind of thing. Um,
Oh.
I don't particularly like working with it as like a full cover for the cake because I feel like it takes away from the taste of the cake. I prefer using frosting, and then if there are little details for a theme or something like that, then I can make them in fondant because then they're
Yeah.
edible. But
Yeah.
otherwise, if it is a cake that is full fondant that people want, I usually say like I know there's a ton of awesome bakers in the city who are good at that kind of stuff and enjoy working with that material, so they could
Yeah.
contact one of them. Or we have a really great community within Halifax, with being supportive about each other's strengths. So that's the only time I turn it down, if it's not like a style that's really suiting the kind of work that I do. But people can see what I do before they even contact me now, because all my work is
On your
on my
Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah. Your
Yeah.
Instagram is at cakes_by_ne, right?
Nay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that's NEH, not NAY.
Yeah.
I remember.
No, NEH. Yeah, because my name is
Yeah.
Neha, like NEHA. So again, you're right about my sister coming up all the time. She also named Cakes by Nay.
I told you. What does Neha mean?
Neha means love.
Oh.
Yeah, or it could also mean rain, but let's go with love.
Yeah, I prefer the love one.
Yeah.
Especially because it's just been raining like crazy the
I
last
know, it's
couple of
enough
years.
rain. Yeah, we don't need any more. Love.
But yeah, I prefer the love one. So with all these cakes you've made over the years, which one was there one that you really struggled with? And if yes, which one was it?
One that I really struggled with. There have been like new challenges as I am growing as a baker. So for instance, recently one of the weddings I did was one of the largest cakes I did, which was 5 tiers. So a tier is like 5 cakes on top of each other. Yeah, I think I was talking to you about that. And it was staggered. So like one was this side, one was that side, all the way up.
How do you keep them standing?
You have to put support dowels, like sticks inside, so support the weight with shorter sticks, and then have like central longer sticks to hold the whole thing together. It's so like it's like baking, and then also being like part-time architect / engineer, structural engineer, when you're making these kind of cakes, because you have to make sure they're stable or they're gonna just collapse into each other, and that's a bad thing. Yeah, I don't want Cakes by Nay's name on like a collapsed cake. So
yeah, what was the cake for?
It was for a wedding.
Oh my god! So
Yeah.
apart from how challenging it is to make, it's for something that already has you panicking, right?
Right.
And then you put the two together.
Yeah, just like. And that was Valentine's weekend, so I was already super busy with like all the Valentine's Day orders. After that weekend, I could not walk. Like I couldn't feel my feet. Lying in bed, and I was like, I think my feet are gone. They're just gone.
So, do you have like where do you bake this stuff? Like, is it in your home? Do you have like a commercial kitchen you do it?
I have my business registered at home. So I do work out of my home. Recently I've made like a space downstairs where I am right now, because I have like 2 little nephews who are like my sons. So whenever they're over, I kind of like need to have the cake in a place that's not going to be at risk of tiny fingers touching both of them on frosting. So I'm like, yep. So I made this my own space like to decorate my cakes. But as far as like most of the other stuff, I've always been working out of my kitchen, just at home.
But like if you're making all those 5 cakes, right? Like you kind of have to. Do you have a big enough oven that you can just bake like all of them at once, or you have to do one at a time and then?
Yeah, so you bake the layers, right? So like each of my cakes are like 3 layers. So like 3 thin cakes together is 1 cake.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, because when you cut into the cake, it's not like one just big chunk of cake. It's like there's frosting in between and filling and that kind of stuff.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so you bake the layers.
I just thought it's like one big ass bowl and you just put it in there and you put it in the thing. Okay.
Some people probably actually do like bake bigger cakes and then just slice it, but I bake layers.
Yeah.
Because I find the bake is nicer. And the
so wait, are you seeing if each cake is 3, the 15 cake was like the 5 cakes tier. was 15 layers, because like 3 then 3 then 3. That is crazy.
Yeah.
How long would it take to make?
It
like that 5 tier one.
I had also made a 5 tier for my mom's birthday, but it wasn't the staggered cake. It was like on just like straight tiers up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it does. You kind of have to break it into like you break it into parts. So like, okay, I'm gonna deal with this tier first, and like frost
Mm-hmm.
it, and then like put it aside, and then like do the next one, and then put it aside, and then once everything's ready, then you start prepping each cake, right? Like getting the support sticks in there, and then let's put that one on top now, and then let's freeze the whole thing, and let's put the support in again, and then the next one. You can't just do it like boom, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It needs to be like supported properly. It's a process, and it takes
Yeah.
hours and hours. Like the whole thing from baking to completion is like really it takes sometimes it can take days.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
Tell me this though. What is like? How do cakes stay edible for so long? Like, I'd hear people, oh, we got married, blah blah blah, and the wedding cake is still in the fridge, and you can still fucking eat it. Like,
Yeah.
how does that work?
Because you can freeze cake. You if you freeze it for probably like a few hours, and then the frosting on the outside is hard, then you can put saran wrap or plastic wrap around it, and that's essentially like how you freeze chicken or you freeze like vegetables you in like a vacuum pack. That's kind of what
Yeah,
you're
but it
doing with the
doesn't.
cake.
Yeah, but like those guys don't stay out, edible for that long
For
though.
that long. Yeah, people will wait like a year and then eat their cake,
Yeah,
right?
to
I
fucking eat.
know.
I'm not eating a yellow cake. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
they take it
sorry.
out of the freezer and like you let it thaw, and I don't know, it's like the you know, magical thing about cake. It's like, ooh,
Yeah,
I don't feel like it will taste like the same as like when you had it then, but if it's
yeah.
wrapped properly and stuff, it should still taste like pretty good. But I think that's the only time that you would be eating a year-old cake is like because it's something that's special from like your wedding. Otherwise,
Yeah,
like,
it's the wedding one. It's the wedding one. Like, fuck it, I'm not
yeah,
doing that. But
no.
here's one for you though. Like on Food Channel, there are all these baking shows and baking
Yeah.
competitions. Would you ever do like something like that?
I would have loved to. I even looked into it, but since I went to I did like a pastry chef program. I didn't necessarily like learn a lot about cake from the program, like at least not parts that I'm applying to my business today. But just because I did do a professional program, I'm not allowed to go on shows like that. Like they want people who are only home bakers who don't sell any of their products as their main source of income and da 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 da. Da. So it's only
Yeah, it would be cool to see you on there. So all those people. So if you go to cake school, like whatever thing, you
yeah.
can't do those TV shows. That's so lame. Then they should
No, that's
do
sad.
like producers should do the version for people that went to chef school,
Yeah,
and that covers it.
I
Anyway,
agree.
oh
I
man,
would
it's
definitely
always
apply
nice
if that was
talking to
what.
you.
What's that?
I think it's always nice talking to
Oh,
you.
thank you, Israel. Same here.
And but before I let you go, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to ask this question.
Mm-hmm.
You started this thing as a hobby. You've grown it into a business. What are some plans you have looking forward?
Moving forward, I'm really happy with how things are going right now. Like, I feel so blessed to have, you know, almost be booked up like a month in advance is incredible for me. Like, unimaginable actually from when I started. I'm like, wow.
Hmm.
So if things just keep going the way they are, I will feel so happy. I don't want things to get like so big that I need like help and stuff. I'm really happy doing everything myself right now. Also,
Hmm.
I plan to have like a family down the road, so I want to be able to have time for kids and also my business. And so the way things are right now are perfect for me, and I definitely would just like to continue getting orders for weddings and any kind of event, and just trying to like maybe narrow down what style of cake I offer um,
Mm.
most would be great. Like people can recognize, like, oh, that's Cakes by Nan.
That's a
I'd like
cake by
that.
me.
That would be
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
And where's the best way for people to reach you?
I would say Instagram definitely is great. Probably better than Facebook for me. And I have my website, www.cakesbynae.com. all my
Mhm.
information is on there, and the order form's on there too. So that's the best way to place an order for sure.
Sweet. Man, Neha, thanks for coming on the
Thank you, Sid.
sanctuary today.
Thank you
Thanks for
so much.
letting me know that if you like get married in Indian is a production. You have to
Yeah, you're
plan
right.
it out.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you very much. Have an awesome day.